Yeah.
We've been doing area for the last couple of weeks, reviewing area and how to do that. And there has been some fraction calculations, which has been helpful because I forgot how to do all that. Like
cross multiply,
the
motherfucker.
principal actually helped one day with that because I didn't remember how to make a fraction into an improper one. And I'm like, I don't know how to
Wait,
do this, kids. Sorry,
make
I'm
it
gonna
into an
look it up.
improper fraction,
Yeah, so if you have like
so
two
you
and
can
three
like add or
fourths,
whatever.
multiply.
Yeah.
So we'd figured out adding and subtracting a while ago, but multiply, divide, no. So we had to do like 2 and 3/4 times like 5 and 2/5.
Yeah.
So like the principal reviewed with them how to do that, and I'm like, yes, that's how this works. Thank you. I had no idea. I had
The
to
way
look
you
up
do
on
it
the
is
internet,
you
and I was
Man,
put
like,
your phone out.
that doesn't
type
tell
it
you
in.
the steps though, and how to
The step
actually
is
do
get
it.
your phone out.
God
No.
damn it.
And we
Oh
finally
my
got
God.
calculators.
You guys, you're hurting me. Like physically hurting me.
I know. I think of you every day, Chris.
People don't know this?
No.
Oh my God.
Chris, I haven't used this shit in like 20 years.
Dude, what the fuck? God damn it.
Nobody.
Hello, and welcome back to RTFB. This is Travis, and today other Chris, and I are sinking our teeth, into the first third of Dracula. So as a reminder, if you're reading along at home, that's chapters 1 through 10 if you want to avoid any spoilers. But once you're ready to go, let's get right back to my conversation with the Chris's already in progress.
20 years in between or so gives you a little bit of perspective and chill time. And like I said, so we're taking it kind of easy with them, really make sure we have like a core concept down.
Right.
Yeah.
Because my kids especially are at kind of different levels of learning.
The important thing is to get the concept, really.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
The thing is that like all of this information, as you're kind of pointing out, like they're not going to retain it long term.
If they don't,
like
unfortunately,
like the way kids learn, you're really trying to get the feeling into their head more than anything, because the actual like concepts and steps and everything, like that's not going to stick around,
right?
But you'll be able to reinforce it in later classes, different concepts that'll build on this. It's going to help that they have that feeling there, I guess.
Yeah. Have that exposure.
Yeah.
And they've been struggling. I got to remind them the stuff we did some of the first week about. We did this like week of inspirational math stuff, along with our school norms and whatnot, to really just kind of just drive home like positive math thinking.
Inspirational math. I need an example.
There's this Australian woman who just developed this stuff. And there's a whole little curriculum. There's a whole bunch of little videos we watch, and it's about how do I start thinking in like a mathematical way.
Yeah.
Like going like, oh, we're problem solving and we're trying to figure things out. And that it's okay. Like there's a whole day was like, it's okay if you struggle with concepts and with problems. Yeah. Because you've never seen it before. Right. And you're growing from it. Like, it's okay if it's hard at first. It should be, because you've never done it before. Right. It's like, so don't just, like, a lot of kids, they just want to throw in the towel when they couldn't encounter anything hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just keep working through it. And I keep telling them, like, it's okay if you get a problem wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't know, like, especially with, like, our warm-ups we do. Like, that's just to get you in a math mindset. Like, it's okay if you don't finish it or don't understand part of it. Just show me that you, like, tried. Right. And stuff like that. And if it's if everyone's having a real tough time, we do it together. Yeah. So that way they can see the steps and I can ask them.
Honestly,
to fill in the pieces. So
I think the worst thing about math education, honestly, the thing that keeps people from learning it properly is just the fact that they're graded.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, I do too. I've got kids already worrying about that because I have 2 grades in, and it was just my grading their warm-ups, and they're worth 10 points a week. Yeah. So since nothing else is in, though, like, some kids didn't take it seriously, so they have like a 50 right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, guys, it's 2 grades, 2 weeks of warm-ups. They're only worth 10 points. So I'm like, by the end of the quarter, your grade will be different because you'll have had some tests, more work coming in now with the proximity people. Like, you're going to be okay. And, like, there's already some kids that are worried about it. And I think you're right. Like, it's going to make them feel more nervous than they already do about math.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm like,
make them calculate how well they have to do the rest of the class to get an A.
Oh, my God.
Well, I don't know what all the assignments are, so... I would do that if we knew what the assignments were.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like, all this other shit, and I don't.
That's called a variable.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. That's kind of exactly what I'm talking about, though. Like we're really focused in this country for some reason on people getting A's.
Yeah.
Like, other places are like, did you pass? Like, that's great.
It's like, do you understand the concepts that were in your class? That doesn't matter if you did.
Did you get a 50% on the test? Perfect. Awesome.
An ordinary wizarding level?
Yeah, exactly.
And even I'm trying to kind of shift, like, we had a PLT, a teacher thing about, like, how we're going to be trying to really be data-driven at school, but it's to understand our students better and, like, where their capabilities are right now, where they need some help, that kind of stuff. Exactly. So we had a test on Friday. Although we could just call it a mastery assessment, which is, I like better, that term better. And I'm like, guys, this is hard. You guys are struggling, but what this is to tell me and Miss Wilkerson, who's been running the math stuff, like, did you understand the concepts here or not?
Right.
Like, it's like, it's okay if you didn't do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, that just tells us, hey, we need to spend some more time with this on you and practice more and really help you understand what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Like, it's not your bad math student. We need to spend more time on it.
For stuff like that, like, you should just not give them a grade for it.
Right. Well, I mean, unfortunately, that we did it on a program that does that.
Yeah.
It tells them the percentage they got right based on, like, the number. But I think there was only 10 questions, so if you miss a few. But, like, I told them that's okay. So one kid's like, I only got a 10%. I'm like, that's okay. That just tells us where you're at in the learning process here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like... I really tried to drive that home, so I'm like, don't stress about it. Do what you can here, guys. You know, because, sure, there is an answer you're supposed to give for this, but I just this is to let us know where you're at in learning this, not to evaluate you. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Not like when we were kids.
Even a college kid would... You would think that, like, at that point, they... I don't know. I think there are certain people who would be able to deal with that if you gave them a test that's like way too hard.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't have
to figure out where they are, right?
Yeah, was a newer concept in life.
Like, some people would see that and they would think these are the things that I have to learn, and they would, like, get their shit together and, like, redouble their efforts. And some people would see that and just fucking drop the class.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I could,
it's like
I didn't go to half of mine, so
those kinds of things, like, really the best thing you could do is just say, like, hey, we're doing this to figure out what your skills are. It's not going to be graded. It's not going to be part of your final score or anything like that.
I wish that had been done.
It's just for you, and it's just for me.
I wish that had been done, and like you said, that we weren't so concerned about grades in our society. Because as we all realize, like, grades don't really matter in life.
No, they don't.
Like, it's the old mantra where you got to get good grades to get into a good college, to get a good job, to then have a lot of money and a big house and a bunch of kids. But that's all been blown up anyways.
You can go to college and still get a good job.
That's
exactly.
True. You can not go to college and still get a good job.
Yeah, depending what you're doing.
Well, I mean, you could do my job without going to college.
Mm-hmm. You can. And I'm the first one to tell kids who are interested in computers and tech stuff, like, hey guys, you don't necessarily have to go to college.
Yeah.
Like, you can learn the skills you need depending on what you want to do, like, independent of college.
Yep.
And get a good job. And if that's what you're really into and you're, on that path, I'd be like, just jump into that. Like, don't saddle yourself with all the debt.
Like get a $40 book on Python and just go through it.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's tons of programs online people can learn from.
Yeah.
There's boot camps in pretty much even every kind of mid-sized city. We've got some boot camps over in Greensboro that the whole region can use access to learn like data security and other things.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff you can do, which is good, thankfully, that while you still have to pay for some of them, isn't nearly as bad as racking up like $100,000 in debt depending on what school you go to. So, like, but yeah, like grades don't matter because I didn't do great in college. I still got into grad school for what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I did great there, so if we needed grades again, that would come out. But like, nobody asks what you got in college. Nobody asks what you got in high school.
Especially it's not like, after a couple of years.
Yeah. It's like you said, Chris, it's like, did you pass or not?
Right.
That's really all anyone cares about.
I graduated.
Yeah. That's all my grandpa cared about. He used to tell, because my mom told me when I was struggling in like college, like, she's like, when your grandfather went and recruited down in Rolla, like, sure, he wanted guys to pass, but his thing was like, a college degree just tells me that you know how to think. Yeah. Like, we can train you to do everything else you need to do here.
Right.
Exactly.
And to specialize some more. But just lets me know that you have that you know how to think and do this work. Especially for the engineers, that you know how to think appropriately for the job that we're doing. So
unfortunately, though, like that attitude, especially for people our age, because we had boomers telling us that, right? Like that's what I heard all the time. Like, yes, college degree very important because that's how
what they thought.
That's how employers like know that you know how to think or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out that like after I graduated, every employer was like, "Did you like entry level positions? Like, okay, do you have a college degree and 5 years of experience?"
Yeah,
right. And then what the fuck? You go and look at like Programmer Humor, and they're talking about like some technology that's only existed for 6 months, and they're like, we want you to have 5+ years experience in this.
Or like the one that's out longer. Do you have 10 years of experience in this? Or like, dude, this has only existed for 5.
I am from the future.
Yep. Yeah, it's totally ridiculous and arbitrary, and honestly, I think we need to get rid of the computer sorting for job candidates too.
Yes.
Like, it just doesn't do it, because we don't know how to do it well. Like, the average HR person does not know how to basically encode that shit for good results, so they just need to drop it.
AI is probably better than the HR people, to be honest.
It is, but it's only as good with what you tell it.
Like,
you know?
Like the HR and like tech recruiters especially have absolutely no idea about technology. And it's like kind of fucking funny.
But if you don't get an AI that's been trained well, then it's not good either.
Yeah. So that's how you get those requirements. They're like, I want you to write in Swift and have done it for 20 years. Because in general, I would have wanted someone with Excel, like a lot of years of experience. But I don't know what that is or any context of how long it's been around. So
right. Like, it's just all kind of a cluster right now. And I'm like, can we just stop?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, clearly it's broken.
You can...
Let's try to understand it and fix it.
Next time you want someone with lots of experience in Excel, you should actually just put in there, like, I want someone who knows Lotus 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Yes. Because then you know you're getting someone who's at least 50.
Yeah, and like you said, like the point, if they understand the question, then clearly they're the person for you.
Yeah.
And my company worked on Lotus Notes for like 3 years when I went there, so I'm not 50 and I know Lotus.
But you've got some experience there, so you can fill in there, right?
So I take offense to that, sir. I'm like 10 years younger than that. Like, how dare you?
But we've also been doing iReady diagnostics this week. Yeah. Diagnostics. And iReady is a program we use that basically gives kids like personalized instruction to like boost their reading and math skills.
Yeah.
And A, it's been a clusterfuck getting them to do this in the last period of the day. And B, like the kids who finished reading, like they're doing okay. Like the ones who actually finished are the kids who are like in the ESL programs.
Yeah.
That's what my mom has. My mom did ESL in an underserved school district, shall we say.
Well, that's ours. Our school.
Yeah. And basically she said they, ESL kids really fall into two camps. They're the ones that like really get pushed to work hard. Mm-hmm. And then there are the ones that are like, again, like just falling by the wayside.
Right.
Well, the weird thing about these kids is they did okay, but like they got like their reading level is it showed as like at a grade 3 or 4.
Right.
But I'm like, that's okay if English is your second language.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like I'm okay with that.
That's actually really good.
Yeah. To be in 6th grade and do that, but like some of the other kids are finishing. I'm like, oh boy. It's almost like the last 2 years didn't count.
I would be shocked if I had a 3rd grade reading level in any of my second languages.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
me too.
I have children's books.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a good way to learn.
I was happy in Japanese when I could read it like a 2nd grade level.
Yeah. No, I took a test, right? Like there's a test online where you can find your English vocabulary.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I think my vocabulary it estimated at like 32,000 words or something.
Nice. I think I've done those too before.
But I took a Japanese one, and it was like, I don't know, like 6,000 words maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's not bad.
That's
okay.
a lot of words, yo.
For second language,
but
that's
it's like you have the vocabulary of a 6-year-old.
Yes.
Like, okay.
Yeah, but still,
I don't think the vocabulary I have is the same as a 6-year-old's.
No, but hey, guess what? 6-year-olds can get around in Japan just fine.
That's right.
That's right.
They can contribute to life as a kid there at least just fine.
Yeah. They can.
I learned from that cute. Let's send like 3-year-olds on quests to get stuff. Like you'd be doing just great.
No, that like I'm that kid who fucks off and doesn't do anything. Like they send him home to make orange juice, and he's like, "I'm gonna go play outside. Fuck that."
Yep.
And then his grandparents are all thirsty, wondering where he is.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I guess speaking of reading and vocabulary, we should probably talk about this book instead.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say, speaking of English as a second language, like, did you like how he was basically an English tutor for Dracula in there?
That was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hang out and let me speak English at you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't seem like a weirdo when I show up in London town.
Like a too old Hungarian count, like he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
that's a good way to learn.
Yeah.
No,
if you can find someone to do that.
Yeah.
And lock them in your castle.
Like you do.
Yep. Just trick him with like cigars and good meals. And
just show him that pile of gold and be like, here, you can have some of this when you leave.
Jesus Christ. This is my ideal situation.
Yeah.
I would happily do that for some foreign noble family.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'll travel abroad and let you talk English at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whatnot. Just don't let your weird sister wives like suck my blood. That's where I draw the line.
Without
I might
consent.
be okay with that too.
Yeah. We got consent. You just can't
ask
kill me.
first, yeah.
You just can't kill me, that's all.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, what did you guys think of this first section?
I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I
wasn't sure how I was going to feel about reading a book from 1897.
Uh-huh.
So
from a long ass time ago.
Yeah. Pretty good read, honestly.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. I like the format of it.
The pacing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pacing's
really good.
It starts off, slow travelogue, and then weird shit happens, and then more weird shit happens, and basically as things start compounding, right, like everything speeds up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you just I don't have a good way to put it, I guess. I should have prepared more. But no, yeah, it's just it has a way of building the tension, I guess.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
While I was reading it, I really wished I didn't know anything about vampires.
Yeah.
Or didn't know anything about the Dracula myth, because I feel like all of this sort of intrigue that they're building about it, like, I'm like, oh yeah, well, he's a bat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we know this, unfortunately.
He's a scary dog, yeah.
Oh
but
yeah,
it would have been really cool if we had not had this in our culture, if we'd been able to read this back in, 1897.
Yeah.
When it was all so new. Like, have no idea that this is how these how vampires work and stuff.
So,
right.
so I was trying to read from that point of view, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to think about it like as if I didn't know all these things about Dracula or vampires in general.
And I've been reading this little like notes along with it course thing that has this professor who talks about stuff. There's really cool. He does analyses of the book a bit to help us understand like the context and the culture in the Victorian period.
Do you remember the guy's name?
I can look him up here.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Let's see this. Right. This is Stanley Stepanich, professor of Slavic languages and literatures at the University of Virginia.
Ah.
Weird.
So it's on this Course Hero thing.
Okay.
But it's been really neat. Like every chapter he breaks it down and talks about like the cultural aspects, kind of what Victorian society thought about these things.
Yeah.
And like how men were supposed to be men of action. Like men are action, they're doers, they go through things. So Harker being trapped in the castle is just like this total like flip on its head, like of the Victorian expectation of what you can do in life, and like that you can't get out and escape very easily for a lot of this, and that his abilities to do like his profession and other things are taken from him.
Yeah.
And the same when talking about the roles between Mina and Lucy, like how Lucy's going to get to live that kind of genteel noblewoman life.
Yeah,
but Mina won't.
Is a working lady.
Yeah, but then her whole thing becomes too like, how can I be helpful to my husband?
Exactly.
And all this stuff, like, so that even though we're just going to basically scrape by, because what happens if you're not a noble person in Victorian era, like, I'm going to be useful, and that whole kind of like dignity in working. If you have to work, make it dignified.
It's kind of interesting, I guess, because they're like middle class, right?
Yeah.
And you don't see a lot of that in literature for whatever reason.
Yeah, especially not at this time.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's so new, though, and like Stoker's really trying to like play with conventions here.
There's been like, an artisan class, I guess. Yeah. But like this kind of like he's a solicitor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or, just newly made solicitor.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's going to have an okay middle class life, but it's still not going to be nearly as easy as a noble.
Yeah.
Right.
As an aristocrat's life. And then Dracula trying to like get that back on his side of things, and they even talked about like the juxtaposition of like the vampire women being powerful.
Yeah.
In that situation, even though they're kept there by Dracula, they have the power here, and they're the opposite of the genteel Victorian ladies like Lucy and Mina are.
Yeah.
So
they're
and
animals.
Expectations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been neat to kind of root it in that, and they brings up too, like, people didn't have any idea what these concepts were when this came out, and it hadn't been well defined either. There's a lot of blending here between werewolves and vampires as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like historically speaking, like any time a woman has had any sort of like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Authority or power or self-determination, I think. They'll be like, oh, they're fucking witches. Like,
yeah,
women who do things they want to do instead of what we want to do, like burn them.
They're witches, or they're like total sluts, like
brides of the devil.
Yeah, and the only time you don't see something like that is like Queen Elizabeth, right?
Yeah,
original Queen Elizabeth,
the good one,
where like. Everyone in the country was like, no, don't fuck with our queen.
That's right.
Yeah.
The queen mother. Yeah, that's the same note I had, by the way. Back to what you're saying before, was like, I'm wondering how much of this at the time people would have been like, oh, 2 bite marks on the neck, like definitely vampire, like Lucy's getting like drained.
I don't think people who spoke English probably had like a
Yeah.
Because I don't think that there's really like a local vampire myth before this.
No, I guess you're right about that. Like that's more of a Romanian or like Romany type of mythology,
or like South American even.
Yeah. You think people in Dublin are like, the chupacabra? Nailed it.
That's
here.
what it was.
The goat sucker.
Or they're like, it's aliens, clearly.
Yeah. Clearly aliens. Yeah, I'll say, like, in general, like, the first part I really liked a lot, where he was, like, going to Dracula's castle. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And like you said, paced really well. And even some of the parts with Lucy and Mina, I'm like, yeah, okay. But kind of like, yeah, I get it. She's sick, and she's sort of better. And then she's sick, and she's kind of better. She's kind of better, but she's sick.
I think again that would have landed better if you didn't already know what was going on.
Right, exactly.
Like because we're like, oh yeah, it's a vampire. Like, let's speed this up.
How long does it take to drain this woman of her life force? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we don't need this over and over again because we're already familiar. But for other people, I think it would, it would build on the tension a lot more if they were like, there's this weird sickness and we don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, and like, why does she keep getting sick?
Oh my god.
Like, they gave her a transfusion. Like, she's sick again?
It didn't work.
Where's
all her blood going?
Where is it going? If she had bled this much, where's all the blood?
It's a mystery, for sure.
So, I had, like, kind of a general question about the way people are, like, contemporaneously taking notes in these, like, correspondence seemed a little bit odd to me. Like, kind of weird how they're, like, in their diary, like, well, this happened. Oh, hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Like, it seemed like they were talking on the phone sometimes more than, like, writing a letter, but...
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's how they did it back then.
Kind of the reason for, like, the whole postscript situation, where it's like...
Yeah.
I wrote you this long letter, and I was about to send it to the mail, and I thought of some other stuff to say, but...
Yeah.
Well, and you used to be able to send mail several times a day. You would get mail deliveries multiple times a day, so it really was, like... Now, not from Transylvania, of course, but he was just sending his thoughts...
Right.
There's kind of the expectation, hey, eventually you'll get it, and then you know exactly, like, how I was thinking and what happened in my day, and if we were in the same town, in the same city, I could write to you multiple times a day, and that would be like me calling you on the phone,
right,
or sending you a tweet, that type of thing, in today's parlance.
Or like,
and we just don't know what that's like, because we don't have multiple mail deliveries per day anymore, because life changed in the last 120 years.
Yeah.
So...
It was just like the thing for me is like, especially the doctor's journal that he's keeping. He'd be like, gotta go because my patient just like started throwing a fit. Like, would you really write that down, or would you come back later?
Yeah.
Like, I was interrupted by my like. Just,
I think it depends on what you're doing.
1 second. Like, let me.
I think it depends on if you were you in the middle of a journal entry or not at the time.
Yeah. Like, hold on, shit. I
if you were
spilled the ink.
like,
God damn it.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh yeah, shit's happening. BRB.
BRB.
and then when you come back to it, though, then you know where you were, right?
Yeah.
You know what you were thinking about, and you can add on to it from there. Like, people who could write well enough and had professions like that did keep be as personal notes. It's just a lot of those were like lost over time, or maybe they had like, hey, burn my writings on my death.
Yeah.
If it's not a professional thing, like throw it in the fire.
Right.
And
there was
things like that.
Also, to that point, even Mina said in her diary entry or whatever, like that if you start to keep a diary like someone who's what did she compare it to?
So yeah, Mina was saying, like, if you start keeping a diary, you'll remember shit better.
Yeah,
something like
exactly.
that. I think is what you're
actually you will.
Yeah, she was talking about journalists, right?
Yeah,
which I guess that's why they call them journal. I don't know. No,
probably because they wrote it down. They journaled
daily newspapers. But anyway, blah. Right. If you write more about what you're doing, you'll remember it better.
Yeah,
true. And so, like, it isn't even necessarily that at that moment something happened and they wrote it. Like, they could have come back later and just written it that way, as though it had happened that way.
Right.
Who knows?
Well, I also like the big sections where, like, here's exactly what they said for like 4 paragraphs. So, like, I can't take dictation like at the time, let alone like earlier today.
Nina
exactly
and Harker can. They know dictation, so they can do that.
Yeah.
And they're also writing in shorthand, so...
Exactly.
Yeah. So...
But yeah, not everyone would be able to, but certain people in this book can, essentially.
Right.
So...
Yeah.
And I liked how they did actually just use like newspaper cuttings for part of it.
Yeah.
So like that also lends a little bit to that idea of like we have this exactly or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and even there, like the newspaper article about the ship crashing in or whatever, it was like, God damn, they wrote a lot of words about this shit. Like,
yeah, they did. Well, that was the way to get it to everybody. Like, you didn't have radio, there was no news broadcasts, nothing like that.
Very detailed about this.
Yeah, I mean, that way you'd be well informed, right?
Yeah,
I get a lot of details about like I don't know K-pop people showing up at the airport. So like,
I think some places they still do that. Good detailed
it could be
journalism.
The
we
most
just don't
interesting
anymore.
thing that ever happened to Whitby in ages. So
yeah,
it probably was.
Here today, we're so obsessed with the quick bites, thanks to our perceived short attention spans.
I mean, I think like that area of England, people still kind of consider it like the ass end of nowhere.
Yeah,
so
only really good for a getaway to somewhere quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Well, do you want to get into some specific notes?
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a lot of shit that happened in this. Like, I'm glad we broke this into thirds because, good lord. But
yeah,
I'm going off written notes, so good luck, everybody.
Travis's own version of shorthand.
Shorthand, like, yeah, no one will be able to read this but me.
I feel like maybe you should learn shorthand, and then you can read your notes better.
No, I don't know about that.
You don't like learning different writing systems like me?
So yeah, we open with Jonathan Harker, right?
Mm-hmm.
His journal, which we've noted is kept in shorthand, on his way May the 1st to Budapest. Which seems like a wonderful place from the glimpse that I got from the train, says he.
Yep.
My mom liked it when she went.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's one of her favorite places she visited when she was in Italy for a year in college.
Yeah. Also, let me back up and, like, there's really, like, kind of three main storylines in this first section. And so it's, like, Jonathan and Dracula, and Dr. Seward and Renfield, and then Dr. Seward and Mina and Lucy.
Yeah,
and all their shit going on, but Jonathan's was the part I liked the most because he is like with the benefit of me knowing what's happening in this book, like he's the dumbest guy. Every time I meet these locals, they're like crossing themselves and giving me religious trinkets. Like, what the hell?
Well, he doesn't know.
I think he treats it the same way I would, which is like, oh, these superstitious fucking idiots.
He does. That professor brought that up. He's the perfect embodiment of the modern Victorian man who goes to the British Museum to learn about these weird Easterners before departing to Transylvania, the far-flung corner of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
I mean, at least he did that instead of just showing up.
He did, yeah, you're right there.
At least he brought, like, a book.
Yeah.
You know?
But he definitely...
has, like, a dictionary, at least. Like, he's trying to speak German to people.
Yeah.
You know?
His polyglot
dictionary.
Well,
because that was... one of the languages the Empire would speak, you would think. So,
but he's he's not just showing up and yelling at everybody in English.
No, but he does come with that mindset of, oh, look at these superstitious peasants.
Yeah, exactly.
We in the West are like we in like Budapest or in Vienna and in London clearly know better. We're the epitome of the modern Western people. Yes. We surpassed this, but all these colorful yokels haven't.
Yep.
It's like, so I will look upon them favorably as those who don't know, but I do know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until shit goes down, and then he's like, that lady.
They were onto something, turns out.
She was so nice to give you this.
Yep.
Good thing. But we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently this guy's off to Transylvania to meet a noble, like a count perhaps. And a castle Dracula with no exact position on any map.
Yeah, it's not a duke, unfortunately, for Danielle.
Yeah, she's not in. She's not in on it.
Nope.
He talks a lot about the area being like. He mentions a lot of different nationalities and how it's kind of like a blend there. And
I mean, it still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about it as like an imaginative whirlpool. Like every superstition in the world is here.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked he said how the women looked pretty until you got really near to them. So,
oh jeez,
oh man.
Ouch.
So they all have butter faces in Romania, says Jonathan.
Well, then it's Hungary. Got to remember that too.
Yeah,
Transylvania was Hungarian for 500 years.
And he mentions a lot of Slavic people not wearing Adidas tracksuits. What?
Yeah.
So you know this is a different time.
Man.
Not listening to the hard bass.
Nope.
Right. Squatting everywhere.
Violins and accordions instead, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So this guy Dracula's made arrangements for him at the Golden Crone Hotel and left a letter. It's like, "Dear my friend, welcome to the Carpathians. Pick you up at the Borgo Pass in my carriage. Less than 3 Dracula."
Mm-hmm.
And when Jonathan's asking his landlords, like, "You know anything about this Dracula guy?" They're all of a sudden don't understand his German very well. So
yeah,
right.
And like we said, some old lady's accosting him, like very upset. Like, "Do you have to go to do this?" Like, and again, he's like, "This is fine." It's like, "Don't you know this is St. George's Day when all evil things have sway over us?"
Oh fuck,
my dear lady, no.
Jeez. Like, and again, the
you
benefit of having
saints.
seen a bunch of like horror movies, like, yeah, he's ignoring all the signs, guys. Like,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
There's someone yelling at the screen.
Yep.
Don't go in there.
Mm-hmm. Don't do it.
Don't go into Hungary.
Just don't. Stay in the Austrian side.
But yes, she gives him a crucifix. But he's English, so he has no idea what to do with it.
Yep.
And puts a rosary around his neck.
Yep.
And he receives many pitying looks from the villagers as his coach approaches the castle.
Yep.
It's like, strange, all these people are saying words like Satan and witch and vampire. I will have to ask the Count about this later.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea.
Yeah. The coach speeds away over failing roads and falling darkness up a very steep mountain pass. The other passengers are urging further speed as the darker it gets. And they also give a bunch of trinkets and make the sign of the cross, but they don't really explain why they're so excited. But the transfer coach isn't there when they first get there, so the driver's like, "Well, gotta get going." But suddenly there is the coach with 4 black horses.
Oh my
being
god!
Like, "You guys are really early."
Right.
And someone even like, "Man, the dead are fast." So he switches over to his new coach and takes off racing full speed through the dark woods, but apparently going round in circles until he notes almost exactly at midnight that a strange blue flame is appearing out in the distance.
Whoa.
The driver goes off toward it, then returns, and they ride off again until another blue flame, and repeat and repeat.
Crazy.
And then snow falls, and dogs begin howling, and then wolves. And they race on until suddenly, though maybe it's in a dream, they're surrounded by terrifying wolves. But the driver comes back and is like, waves them away. And Jonathan realizes they have reached the castle.
Oh my
dun,
god.
dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So he's brought to the front door of the probably not as big as it looked castle. No idea what that says. Oh, he's left there, and we're given a hint about what he's even doing there. So, like we said before, he's a newly minted solicitor brought to explain a recent purchase in London town. So, big heavy doors creak open, and there stands Dracula himself. Described as an old man, tall, clean-shaven except for long white mustache, clad all in black, no color to him at all. He speaks in excellent English, but with strange accents, basically. Welcomes him kindly, shakes his hand, his own feeling strong, icy, and dead.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
There's your first hint.
Yep.
If you
and again,
you know, the flame and the wolves and
that wasn't enough yet.
Yeah, like telepathically commanding wolves was one thing, but you know,
Yeah,
I guess he didn't realize the driver was the same yet. But at that point,
no.
And again, I'm kind of like, how exactly would this old stone castle have seemed to an English guy from the 1800s? Like, would just been like, oh, it's kind of nice, or would it just be exactly as creepy as I think it would be?
I mean, if it's a castle, then
it hasn't been really maintained for a little while.
We're not talking about like a palace or something. You know?
Yeah.
We're talking about like battlements and like towers and spires and
was not converted into a manor house.
Yeah.
Right.
So like it would have been probably really cold anywhere there wasn't fire going.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been probably really I don't know, like certain places would probably be cramped. It seems like part of it probably had been furnished well and updated and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But like for the most part he was saying that it was like all really old.
Yeah. So it would have been really creepy to him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably a little creepy. Dracula leads him down corridors and stairs and into his room where fire's already going. It's like, I'm sure you're hungry, so make your toilet and come get some supper. But I already ate, so I won't be eating. Right. Also, here's a nice cigar, which I also won't be having.
Mm-hmm. Just for you, dear guest.
Just a note. Like, when your host isn't partaking with you, that's a sign.
Yeah.
At least of something.
There's probably angel dust in there.
Probably.
Rohypnol or something.
Yeah. I didn't know you like to get wet.
Always make them participate. There's more descriptions of Dracula. Of note, he's got giant eyebrows and hairy palms and very short fingers. A general pallor and rank breath and sharp teeth. So seems like a weird looking guy.
Yeah.
The hairy palms in particular, like, is that just supposed to be a sign of like being in league with Satan, or is it
if you go back to that, like I don't know, Victorian era, right?
Yeah.
Like they had all these things about like if you talk about like criminals and stuff about how they have smaller brains.
Yeah.
They're not as developed, or like they have other physical signs somehow that they're like not fit for society, basically.
Yeah. Right.
I gotcha.
And so this all would have been things that they would have immediately noted as like, oh, this guy is like not a smart modern man or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's kind of a weird
all these little clues.
Kind of a weird looking guy and stinky breath too. So
yeah.
He gives him a letter of intro from Mr. Hawkins, who's like his boss.
Yep.
And then they're serenaded by wolves. And yes, this is where he's like, listen to them, the children of the night. What music they make. Like, this is where he'd be like, I'm checking out tonight. I will stay at the La Quinta next door.
There you go.
Yeah. He's like, anyway, off to bed.
Next to Denny's.
Off to bed. He won't see me until late afternoon because I'm very busy.
Right.
Of course.
Very busy. So yes, they'd meet the next day in a rather large library filled with English books and newspapers and magazines. And like we said, Dracula wants Jonathan to be his ESL tutor.
Yeah.
So he won't seem like a stranger in a strange land when he moves.
Wants him to do the find the difference in the highlights for kids.
Yep.
Yes. Goofus sucks the blood of the townsfolk. Gallant asks first.
Right.
They also chat about those blue flames, which I guess they were being like markers of treasures from countless wars that have been fought there.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Will-o'-the-wisps or something.
Yep. It's like if you hit the candles with your whip, you'll get a turkey sometimes. So that's they go over some papers.
Way,
yeah.
Whoever thought of that, like, what the fuck? Like,
why are there turkeys hidden in there?
Yeah, like why candles?
Yeah.
Why are we busting candles?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But now it's part of the vocabulary of video games.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was there, I don't know. Something to attach the hitbox to. Yeah, so they go over some papers on the house that he's purchased, which is like Carfax. Catraface. It's very
Carfax?
old. Carfax. Carfax.
Carfax.
Carfax. Get
It's
your
very
oil
old.
changed.
Made of very heavy stone. Church-like even. Right next to an asylum, which he says is good, because these new houses would have killed me. Wink. These newer houses with all their sunlight.
Believe it?
Yeah.
Or not?
It's like, I love the shade and shadow and being alone with my thoughts. Also, he seems to already know a lot about the place, so much so that he's got an open atlas with pictures of London with red circles in his house, and the law offices and Whitby as well.
Yep.
So, again, they eat, well, at least Jonathan does, and chat about stuff until the rooster crows, and Dracula's like, oh crap, I gotta go. Is that the rooster? Shit, I gotta go.
Yep.
So he starts feeling a little bit uneasy after an incident with Dracula, who silently enters his room while he's shaving. It's like strange. I didn't see him in my hand mirror come in. Also, when I cut myself, he was like very excited. Grabs him by the throat.
Too excited.
He's like, "Listen, be careful shaving around here. It's very dangerous in this country."
Yep.
But luckily, again, because he had that rosary, when he touched that, he's like, "Okay, I'll leave you be." But throws the mirror out the window anyway. Like, no mirrors.
Yeah, fuck mirrors.
Not allowed.
It's like, you can go anywhere in this castle you want that isn't locked. P.S. All the other doors are locked. So
So that means don't go there.
Don't go anywhere. But yeah, he's beginning to realize that he's being held prisoner. He's like, but I can't talk to Dracula about that.
Yep.
So he confirms that there aren't any other servants there when he sees Dracula making his own bed and like laying out his dinner and disappearing. So decides he's going to get him to talk about Romania, which he does at length. And the noteworthy thing in that section to me seems to be he's talking about all this stuff like he was there.
Yeah.
Right.
All these historical events and battles and stuff.
Yep.
And he's
Another hint.
very keen on his and his family's bloodline and blood in general.
Another clue here, Mr. Harker.
Yeah. So anyway, Dracula's like, hey, I want you to send a letter to your friend saying that you're okay. And you're going to stay for a month.
We're going to take a picture of you with today's newspaper.
Say what now? What?
And also write a letter for like a month from now that says you're on your way home.
Yep.
And I'll just post it for you.
Yeah, it's all good.
Also, don't fall asleep anywhere that's not your room. Just FYI.
So,
yeah. So that's when he decides to hang his crucifix above his bed. And on a random still night, he peeks his head out for some air. Sees Dracula like exiting his window and crawling down the wall like head first, like a lizard.
Yep.
And again, he's like, something not quite right.
Yeah.
Can't put my finger on it, but yeah. So some other night, post lizard crawl, he decides to throw caution to the wind and explore the castle anyway. Finding
seems smart.
Yeah.
Right. Everything we've seen so far says yes. Please wander around freely. That's a good idea.
Barricade your door and pray for daylight. Like.
Yep.
Yeah. He finds that Dracula's bedroom is not actually really locked, and he can bust his way in there. And he's like, I know what I will do. He pulls up a couch and falls asleep. Again, when you're breaking and entering somewhere, don't take a nap.
Yeah.
Wait till you're clear of it. But
leads to problems sometimes.
He's awoken by a trio of voluptuous women, seemingly deciding on who might kiss him first. One approaches, lowers her head to his neck, and feels her teeth about it, and then Dracula busts in, and he is pissed. He's like, how dare you when I forbade it?
Yeah.
And tosses them away. But they're like, but we're not going to have anything, like nothing to eat? And he's like, okay. And throws her a sack full of half-smothered children. And they fade out the window.
Here's dinner, kids.
Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ. Wow.
It's their
Very
version
casually
of
mentioning like a bag full
macaroni
of
and
children.
cheese.
Yeah. Very casual.
I got you takeout. Like, here you go.
It's from the village nearby.
Oh my God. So,
Yeah.
they kind
2
of
stars on Yelp.
But out of the window, and he's overcome with terror. Wakes up in his bed and is like, Count must have carried me here, but where is the proof, I wonder?
Did it really happen?
Did it really happen, or did I dream all that? Oh, yeah, actually, this is where Dracula tells him to send the 3 notes out, like, I'm almost done here, and I'm going to head out, and then I've arrived safely at Bistritz, and he's like, uh-oh. I don't feel
like,
good.
This can't be good.
It says here, I'm like, I now knew the span of my life. God help me.
Mm-hmm.
This is where he got wise.
Yeah. There's even that scene where he finds a group of gypsies camping on the yard. He's like, oh, guys, over here. Send this letter to Mina. And they're like, all right, here's a gold coin or whatever.
And they immediately just hand it over.
Yeah. Dracula's like at his door. Like, what the hell, guys?
This is why people don't trust gypsies, I guess.
Well, I mean,
or is it just reinforcing stereotype?
They didn't seem to really be communicating exactly what was going on. He's like, oh, he wants the mail. I'll just give it to the Count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'll do it.
Count
He's
will
on his
mail
way
it.
into town. We're like,
yeah.
Fine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Here, this dude said drop this in the mail.
So yeah, Dracula's like, I'll drop it in the fireplace because it is a vile thing and a betrayal of trust. So, yeah.
What trust? Like, come on, Count. You know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Gaslit.
Yeah.
Exactly. You made me do this to you. It's your fault. Yeah, now, after that, he finds that his papers and all of his travel clothes have been taken from him.
Oh.
So he sees Dracula leaving another evening and wearing his clothes, apparently pretending to be him, to both be seen in town and to, like, set him up as, like, you know who's been stealing all these kids? It's that Jonathan guy.
Yeah, must have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Must have been him.
There's strange guy coming to town.
There's also, like, a bunch of empty boxes and digging going on. That's weird, right?
That's pretty weird.
Just big empty boxes. Yeah, and Dracula's bringing his kidnapping bag out with him, too. And later, a woman returns hysterical, screaming at Jonathan, like, give me back my kid. And then a word from Dracula sets a pack of wolves on her. And Jonathan's like, knowing what is happening to her son, he's like, it's probably better this way. And this book is fucking hardcore. Murdering children and then having dogs attack their mom when they come,
right?
Like, lamenting their passing. Jesus. Anyway. He gets pretty desperate and makes an attempt at, anything. And decides he's going to climb in Dracula's window. And finds, like, a bunch of dusty furniture and ancient coins.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And a stairwell leading down to a sort of ruined church graveyard. And there's Dracula, sleeping or maybe dead, but his eyes are open and hateful. Sort of tries to search him for keys and stuff, but gets scared and scurries back to bed. Yeah, so anyway, he goes back to his room and is terrified and stuff that he decides to read in the library.
Yeah.
And falls asleep until Dracula wakes him and goes over his travel arrangements for the following day. He's like, man, I'm really scared. I need to go. It's like, okay, well, can't I go now? He's like, oh yeah, let's go.
And then there's a bunch of fucking wolves.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of wolves and stuff. It's like, maybe not tonight.
Yeah.
I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah, when the wolves
aren't here.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. He goes back to his room and is hearing those weird sisters whispering, like, patience, tomorrow's our night. And he's like, oh shit. So next morning, finds the front door locked. So again, climbs in his room, finding him again in the box. This time with the lid on. And strangely, he seems younger. And there's like blood dripping from his mouth. Weird.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And he's like, oh man, and here I am helping this guy move to London? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So,
right.
He tries to attack him with a shovel and only manages to cut his forehead. And then, hearing some men coming, he runs away and is trapped in another room. decides he's gonna go. I'm gonna get a handful of gold, and I'm gonna just get the fuck out.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna run. Like even jumping off a cliff would be better than waiting for like the devil and his children to eat me.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's kind of where we leave him off. Death.
Yeah, like I'll just jump to my death. It's fine. So then we switch over to some letters between Mina and Lucy. Basically, like it's like great news. Jonathan just said he's on his way home. Lucy's like, damn, guys be trying to all date me and stuff. I'm like, I got 3 love confessions in one day. Like, my milkshake is bringing all the boys to the yard.
God,
one of them
up
is
about it already. Jeez.
In like one day, like in a row. Like, come on, don't try to get any love confessions on the way to the parking lot. Like,
I was really waiting for Mina's journal at some point to be like, God, this bitch. like I know we're friends, but God,
she gets a firm calm down from me. Like, come on.
No, I think that's what you wanted for your Victorian friend was a lot of marriage proposals.
Yeah, wants prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Because are they even like allowed to be kissing right now? Like,
no,
they have to be like engaged before that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Correct, but that was the protocol. Yeah, officially it never happened. Officially, only with some degenerate classes.
Yeah. I think we learned from Bridgerton, if you were seen kissing, you better be engaged.
Yep.
Or the ton will be a Twitter.
Yeah.
Or unfortunately be Irish, but you wouldn't be in the ton then anyways.
You'd just be Irish.
Yeah.
And miserable.
Unfortunately.
So yes, the three confessions are from 1, a Dr. John Seward, he of the nearby asylum. 2, this American guy from Texas who's straightforward and loves slang.
Yeah.
She was really on about his slang.
Well, I mean, people are still like that about Americans.
Yeah.
That's true. She's like weird. Very impressed that he says bruh all the time.
Bruh.
And 3, he's like, well, do I really need to tell you? And I was like, yes, who is that? But I guess that's Arthur.
Yeah.
Who I guess is away at this point, but she's like, if only a woman could marry as many men as love her. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So she's a freak.
Mm-hmm. Guess I know what's happening to her later.
You don't know. Let's see. There's a note from the Dr. Seward about Lucy basically rejecting him and attending to a patient who's more than your usual lunatic, Renfield. He of great strength and some fixed idea.
Tells you also a lot about what they thought of people who were mentally irregular at the time.
Yeah. He's got a lot of offhand comments about how like lunatics are all a certain way.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they thought.
And even just the word lunatic.
Yeah, just getting the inklings of maybe something more is here that we can do.
Yeah.
But very much in its infancy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Treating mental health.
Yeah, and like Renfield's thing that we're going to talk about in a minute, like creep me the hell out. But okay. Just creep me out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's also an invitation. I don't know if this has become important yet, but Quincy Morris to Arthur Helmwood to come speak at his campfire. I guess that they were buds or something in the army. I don't know.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't remember Quincy coming back into it. Then Mina's got a diary, and I think she is visiting Lucy.
Yes.
Yeah. She has a long chat with a very old man about how gravestones are sweet lies.
Yeah.
That was
they won't serve as good character witnesses on Judgment Day. I'm like, is that what they were for?
No, but they were more for looks in that comfort spot, like they talk about.
Yeah.
And you kind of paper over details when people die.
Yeah.
Put up the best foot forward type of deal. Right. So someone looking at their grave like 100 years later would think nicely of them.
Yeah, I liked the bit about how his mom fucking hated him.
Yeah, and he did it to make sure she didn't benefit.
Yeah.
Type of deal. So I'm like, that's human right there.
That old guy struck me as like pre-internet edgy atheist guy.
Yeah.
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 Just a cranky old man.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah, he was colorful. It took me a couple of tries to figure out what he was saying, because he kind of wrote him in vernacular, but...
In the Geordie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still no word from Jonathan for over a month now. Just FYI.
Right.
So Dr. Seward goes on and chronicles a lot more about Renfield and how he's been catching flies and eating them occasionally.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And doing a lot of number scribbling in his notebook. And when asked to clear out his fly corpses, which I guess he's been keeping, he's like, okay, well, I'll just feed them to a new collection of spiders. What? And then the spiders are fed to sparrows, and then he asks for kitten. Like, oh, okay. So they describe him as being zoophagous.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Life-eating. And he seems to be figuring out how to eat the largest number of souls at one go.
There you
So
go.
he's like,
Yeah.
I will farm the fly souls to the spiders, spiders to birds, and then I'll eat a cat later.
He's building a dungeon.
I guess. Harvesting souls.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Mina lets us know that Lucy is taken to sleepwalking, which is never good.
Nope.
Somnambulism is like the sign of the devil or whatever. If the Exorcist is to be recalled, but and that her room's got to be locked at night to keep her from wandering off. Mr. Hawkins has received a one-line letter from Jonathan saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm on my way home." But again, Mina doesn't take much comfort in it.
Right.
They meet up with that old guy again, who's apologizing for going on about how gravestones and the like. But he's like, "Really, I'm just old, and old folks have to laugh at death, otherwise we'd be paralyzed with fear."
There you go.
But by the way, I think I'm going to die soon, so...
Haha.
Anyway, peace out.
Yep.
And then that chapter ends with like a note about a Russian ship coming in. Doesn't seem to be trying to avoid this oncoming storm at all. And in fact, there is a big storm. And the ship even runs aground in the harbor, and this is where we get that newspaper clipping detailing the scene. And a large black dog leaping off the ship immediately after hitting ground and running off. And I like that the locals are like very interested in finding this random dog. Like, we could befriend him.
Yeah.
And he could be our cool dog friend.
Yeah, he's going to be the town mascot.
Even though dog corpses are discovered, but whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, they find that the ship really only had one guy who's dead, and his hands are lashed to the helm with a rosary.
Yeah.
And on him is a bottle with a Planet of the Apes style level of journaling. Like, good lord. It's like writing on microfiche or something, like what he put in here. But basically, he tells the tale of the ship's journey with a cargo of, just these large boxes filled with clay. But like the crew is like slowly starting disappearing one by one. So that's weird, right? Also, there's a fog that surrounds the ship.
Yep.
And they even say sometimes they see a tall, thin white guy just hanging out down there, but that's weird, right?
Totally.
Can't find him.
Can't find him. Like, they're all hallucinating at the same time. So yeah, one by one they all disappear until the captain and the first mate are left. The first mate's like, "Fuck this, I'm gonna go investigate." In the holds and returns screaming and throws himself overboard. Captain's like, "I know.
The water will save him."
I'll just tie my hands.
He's a sailor. He'd rather die in the water.
It's exactly like the guy. Jonathan's like, "I'd rather die jumping off the mountain."
Yeah.
Yeah. So the captain makes a note how he's like, "I know what's going on now." He ties his hand to the helm with the only thing that he fears to touch.
And once again, they pointed out that the crew, everyone who was disappearing and superstitious and all of that, was all Romany.
Oh yeah, I missed that.
They were all Romanian, and the mates were Russian.
Right.
Oh,
and so that's why. First of all, like the Russian mate was like superstitious nonsense, all this bullshit, and then finally was like, "Oh, never mind. The dude's real."
I regret my decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
See how far I can swim in the English Channel.
Yeah.
Right.
But the good news is everyone in town agrees the captain's a hero.
Yeah.
They do.
Yep. So Mina notes again that Lucy's been very restless, no doubt because of the storm in the boat, steered by a dead man. Also, the old guy did die. Like, he was found with his neck broken. Probably had been frightened and fell back or something. Not suspicious at all.
Nope.
Yeah. But I like that she's like, I'm going to start taking her on walks to tire her out. Like, with a mischievous puppy or something. Like,
right?
Yeah. A 4-year-old.
But, alas, the walks do tire her out and leave her in spirits, but don't stop the sleepwalking. In fact, Mina wakes one night to find that Lucy is gone, and without a house court nor a dress. Just in her night clothes, so...
Scandalous.
She has to run out in the night and finds Lucy sitting by the bay, and like some sort of dark figure leaning over her, like with a white face and red eyes.
Right.
But when she runs to her, like throwing a shawl over her and like fastening it very hastily around her neck with a safety pin.
Mm-hmm.
And it scares that guy away. Then she notes that she must have been really too hasty in trying to apply that shawl because there's 2 red marks on her neck. Must have been from the pin.
Definitely her fault.
Definitely her fault.
That was definitely
no other reason.
Yeah, that's not like a hint or anything.
Yeah.
And again, like going back to that whole like vampires thing.
Yeah.
I guess you could put it together with clues from earlier in the book,
Yeah.
Like with the ladies biting at Jonathan.
Yeah.
One can.
Yeah. It would have been interesting to start with Mina, I think, and like have Jonathan's stuff be revealed later when they find him, but
right.
Anyway.
Right.
But then it would be out of order, and that would be
well, they did make note in the like lead in that like we arranged these notes this way so it would make more sense, but
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So over the next several days, Lucy seems lively during the day, but it's restless at night.
Yes.
It's just that Mina has to keep the room key strapped to her wrist so she won't just go get out. And also, it's weird that she's always at the window. Their window is visited.
There.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The window's being visited by this one bat. Like, weird.
Got a bat.
Or sometimes a large bird on the sill.
Yeah.
And Lucy's like, asleep at the open window.
Right.
And actually, now that you mention it, she seems very pale and listless. And those red dots at her neck aren't getting better. In fact, the opposite.
Yeah.
And again, she's like, if this keeps up, I'm going to have to send her to the doctor. And like, she and Jonathan are like a perfect match. It's been weeks of her being like, walking around at night and like, standing at empty windows. I'm going to start getting concerned soon.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just, like I said, maybe this is just a sign that she's like, God, this bitch.
If I wasn't staying at her house, I probably wouldn't be bothering, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. She does finally get word from Jonathan, or word that Jonathan is very sick, and that she should go to him and help in his recovery and bring him home, and maybe just get married, like, while they're out there. I don't know.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yep. Meanwhile... Renfield has abandoned his flies and spiders for now talking about how the master is near.
Yes.
And, like, who bothers with random maidens when their bride is nearby?
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think of Torgo whenever we start talking about the master.
Yes.
But that's just me.
Well, I mean, that's, that's basically, it's the same, same dynamic.
Right.
And I mean, Torgo stole it from this, so,
Yeah.
Yes. So he even breaks out of his cell at night, naked, and runs to the nearby old house, pressing against the church, I think.
Yep, the chapel door.
The chapel door. Basically begging the master to not pass his faithful servant over now that he's so close. Dr. Seward's like, this is fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally cool. Come on back.
These lunatics, they're crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Spouting some kind of nonsense.
Mina sends word back to Lucy that she has spoken to Jonathan, and in fact, they are married now.
Oh,
right
my
there
God.
in the hospital bed. Just like every girl's dream.
Yep.
And he's given her his journal of his times of brain fever. And if she's like,
yes.
listen, I'm not going to talk about it, but if you ever feel the need, here's everything I wrote down about it.
Right.
So, she, in a sign of their trust, wraps it up and seals it. Like, I'll put this away forever.
Read it.
That's definitely not going to come back.
Yeah. Not at all.
No.
That's not going to be broken open.
They're just going to be happy the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Lucy writes back letting Mina know that she's doing much better and no longer sleepwalking for sure. Also, Arthur's back. And they're to be married at the end of September, which is great.
It's going to happen.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nothing by the end of September will
Nothing at all. No. Nothing at all.
Well, yeah, I think it's like the next time she writes, we figure out she's just making that shit up. Like, don't worry about me anymore. I'm fine. But
right.
Yeah.
Totally
anyway.
Fine.
So Renfield has been, pretty calm lately. And the doctor's like, I know what I'll do. I'll set up an escape opportunity and follow him, see what's going on there.
That's totally safe.
Which eventually he takes. Like, again, yeah, this is really smart. Like, let the Hannibal Lecter out of his cell and see what happens.
See what he does.
Yep.
Well, he's going to go to Europe and he's going to eat people.
For science.
For science. Yep, he goes right back to that old house in the chapel where he violently resists recapture until he doesn't anymore.
Yep.
He's like gazing off in the way, and there's a large bat flying away, but like with purpose, not like how a bat flies.
Yeah,
right. With
Dr.
real
Seward
purpose.
is sure to point out that the bat is flying in a straight line, which I don't think is something I would have noticed.
No, I don't think so either.
Bats fly in straight lines if they're going home and shit.
No, they swoop around and stuff.
Not always. They swoop mostly when they're hunting.
Well,
because they're getting them bugs.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Victorians took that much pains to watch what bats do.
Yeah.
So,
probably some of them did.
A few, like the naturalists.
Yeah, I'm guessing there was one guy who was really into bats.
Bats were his thing.
Yeah. Just like now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Exactly. So, meanwhile, Arthur texts Dr. Seward that he's very worried about Lucy's health. Like, can you come examine her, but, like, secretly, so you don't upset her mom who's dying and would surely have a heart attack if she knew her daughter was sick.
Right.
It's like, plus, I know it'll be weird since you love her so much, but please. So, he does find a way to secretly examine her, noting that she's putting on a mask of good spirits when others are around, but as soon as they're all alone, sinks into depression. Which could just be him, like she doesn't want to hang out with that guy. She refused his love confessions anyway, but...
Right.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
Yeah. Like, she isn't anemic, but I'm very concerned that she has trouble breathing. So I'm writing to my buddy in Amsterdam, Professor Von Helsing. He's going to come and help assess.
Yes, and
once again, he's the fucking best, he says.
Once again, I really wish I didn't know things about lore.
Yeah, I know, right? I'd love to meet these people for the first time.
Yeah.
Would have been great.
Not immediately recognize the name Van Helsing.
Yep.
So.
But yeah, he's down. He's like, I'll be right there. So.
Yep. I really liked.
Be there in 5 days' time.
I really liked all of the fucking what did he have, like MD, PhD. Something or other, and etc. Like, Jesus Christ,
knows his shit.
Yeah, he's the bomb.
He's heavily credentialed.
Yes.
Yeah, he does pay her a visit and examines her, having some chit chat. And I liked him being like, Dr. Seward's busy with crazy people all day, and he's also a loser. So what does he know about talking to ladies?
Yeah. He's my friend, but
but he's
not so good. So I'm clearly superior choice here.
Yeah. So he eventually agrees that it doesn't seem to be a cause for her illness or anemia, but she has lost a lot of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wonder what that could be.
Renfield taking back up his flies and spiders and stuff. Because he's like, it's all over. He abandoned me.
Aww.
But he goes into a fit of rage at noon. But then at night he seems really calm and like brushes them away. So weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Very weird. And Lucy is worse still. And even her mother has asked for the doctor's help. So now they don't have to be secret about it.
Mm-hmm.
He calls Van Helsing back again for another examination.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically like bone dry of blood.
Yeah.
Needs a transfusion. So they kind of debate, like, I'm really old.
Pretty risky back then.
So
yeah.
But
I like that there wasn't any thought given to blood type in this conversation.
They didn't fucking know about that.
Well, they're like, Arthur will be the best because he's going to marry her. So you know.
I mean, they knew about it. God, when did they?
But they had that like other kind of shit they did, right? With like coagulating test or something.
They did something, but
like they didn't really know about blood types per se, like we have them.
When did they figure that out? Because seriously, just giving someone a blood transfusion would kill them.
Pretty dangerous.
if the blood types didn't match.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Well, while you're looking that up, I also thought it was interesting that later on, when Dr. Stewart has to give her one, like he's like,
blood types.
Better we don't tell Arthur; he'll be jealous. Your blood is in his wife.
According to ScienceABC.com, blood types were discovered by Carl Landsteiner, who discovered the ABO blood group system in 1901, and RH in 1940.
Okay.
So famous among them all, of course, are AB and O, blah, blah, blah. So a few years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder what their state of the art was at the time.
Yeah.
Like,
so this other one says,
it's kind of crazy that they...
The one who found the types, he wasn't the first one to...
he had in his suitcase, so...
Yeah, and they'd been studying properties of blood since, like, the 1840s.
Yeah.
So they knew, like, some bloods you couldn't, I think, transfuse, but you couldn't really know for sure if it would work or not.
Yeah.
Or if it would kill the person.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was some kind of test they could do where if they dropped drops of blood in, like, a dish, they could see if it, like, coagulated or not.
Yeah.
And if it coagulated, you weren't supposed to give someone the other person's blood.
Yeah.
Oh.
So... But they didn't know all the details, and it was still risky.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because a French guy started experimenting with transfusions in the 1840s.
Yeah, but he was French, so...
And then you got a German physician, Karl von Lichtenberg, in the 1880s did some more studies. He was the first to suggest that there may be different types of human blood, but it wasn't until Landsteiner's work in the early 1900s that the existence of blood types was confirmed and accepted by the medical community.
I wonder if Dracula knew about blood types.
He probably knew some were tastier than others.
Yeah. It's like, I love an O negative.
Yeah. Didn't know why, but... This is great.
Yeah, so they, like, gotta have a transfusion. Seaward volunteers, which I made a note in here, like, that feels very brave at this time of year.
Yes.
At this century and this location, just in someone's room. But Arthur appears anyway, and they're like, great, you go in there. So, he's like, he's like very distressed and he's like, I would give my last drop of blood for her. And Van Helsing's like, well, we don't need the last one.
Yeah, we don't need all of it.
Just most of it.
Just some of it.
Yeah. And I also liked, both times they give this transfusion, he's like, now go drink a lot of brandy. And you'll feel better.
Right? Not wrong, you will.
Which, I mean, it's a great way to get drunk cheap. Like, donate a lot of blood and then go drinking. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, yes, they do the transfusion, and it works. Lucky them.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy's, like, looking better right away. But while they're, like, stitching her up, so to speak, like, they move this black velvet band on her neck, and they discover those red marks. Like, there's a hiss of insulation from Van Helsing, and he's like, uh-oh.
Yep.
It's like, I gotta go get some books real quick. You stay here, and you watch her all night, goddammit. So, Lucy's even confiding in Dr. Seward that she fears sleeping. Doesn't want to face sleep and all the horrors it brings, but can't exactly say what that means.
Yeah.
But he's like, listen, if you start to have a bad dream, I'll wake you up and stuff. And she's like, all right.
Right.
Goes to sleep. Contains life and breath, health-giving sleep. And she's feeling way better after a couple of nights of actually sleeping, which, yeah, you would.
Right.
She's basically like, now you need to go take a nap in this room adjoining mine.
There you go.
Because, 2 nights of not sleeping and he's very tired. But he's woken up by Van Helsing shaking him awake, and they check on her, and they're like, motherfucker, she drained of blood again. What the hell?
How does
they have to do another damn transfusion. This time it's got to be the doctor.
Just put some garlic around her neck, guys. Come on. Figure it out.
Yeah, well, they get more blood into Lucy, and she seems better. But not like as better as with Arthur's blood, I guess. So
yeah.
Right.
He's like, it's like, all right, listen, Seward, don't tell anyone what's happening here. And like, by the way, like, don't rule out even the craziest thing. If you're going to Dr. House this situation, it could be the craziest thing.
It could be. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is. It's not always zebras, but sometimes it is zebras.
It's not lupus.
So he gives her a big present of some white flowers. She's like, this is just garlic, though. He's like, yeah, exactly. Rubs it all over the place, like he's making like her room into garlic bread.
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
Delicious.
And even makes her a necklace of the stuff. And he's like, by the way, don't open the goddamn windows and don't take this off.
Right.
It's like, now I'm going to bed. Like, I'm sure she's going to be very much better very
like
soon.
your life depends on it.
Right. And that's where our section ends.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Well, we'll see what
Good
happens.
Lord. So is Lucy going to make it? Or is she going to be like, well, you told me not to take it off, but I did.
Yeah, probably.
The very next chapter.
She probably does.
I think I know where this is going.
Unfortunately.
It would be kind of anticlimactic to spend a lot of time, and then she's like, and then I was better.
Right.
The end.
Yeah.
You've got 300 more pages to read.
They'll be like, well, they saved me, and then he had to go after someone else.
Could be. Could be.
But maybe not.
Maybe not, though. See, I would welcome some more characters. I don't know if I want to spend another, like, 250 pages with these people exclusively, but...
I mean, I think that's what it's going to be, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we are going to see Mina and Jonathan return to England.
Mm-hmm. We will, that's sure.
I'm gonna predict that now. I don't think
is that not Keanu Reeves? Right.
And yeah, I got some feelings.
Yeah. As long as more crazy shit happens, I'm down. But
yeah,
I just don't want it to be another 130 pages of her being like, "Well, I'm feeling better." Oh no, I'm not. But I'm better.
No, I unfortunately think she is destined for a certain fate.
It is escalating.
Yeah,
and it will be someone else's fight to stop.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
the vampire who came to town.
Uh-oh. Well, you don't know
That's the real name of the book.
It is the vampire who came to town.
You don't know what's going on. It could be that dog.
I don't, but I have suspicions.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Maybe it's that bat.
Mm-hmm.
No. Maybe you know who it is? We haven't heard from that driver from the opening scenes for a long time.
Yeah.
There's been no mysterious blue flames either.
Yeah. Is anyone going to show up with a whip though and like hit him?
Probably, dude. There's lots of carriages being driven around.
Throw some fucking holy water at him.
Yeah, like throw a cross at him like a boomerang. That's what I want.
Yeah, probably.
Now the axe is the most useful.
No, the knife.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the knife is
because the knife takes one heart, and you can like spam that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Straightforward.
Pow, pow, pow.
Oh man. So I guess our next reading assignment is to read until you hit chapter 20.
Okay.
So that's like another 135 pages.
Okay.
I'll write that down.
Good lord.
So
and we can figure out
11 through 19 or something. Is that what we're saying?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris, I know you've got a hard out.
I do.
Do you have anything else that's good that you want to talk about?
No, we're just watching some animes. Watched the... I told you about the Cyberpunk one. That was really good.
Oh, yeah.
On Netflix. Really kind of helps make the game feel nicer again. Matt was telling me since they put it out, they updated shit in the game, so you can go like... They make reference to what happened in the animes in like the news and shit, and you can like find one of the characters and stuff. So
oh, nice.
That's pretty cool.
I have heard people are going back to it now.
Yeah, they should. Like, it's still, for the last gen systems, not quite the best looking, but it plays just fine now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
they fixed all the janky shit. Driving vehicles is easier, and the shooting's a little better. So it's playable now. It's like just took them some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got it fixed. So it's fun. I haven't played it in a few months, but when I was playing, it was fine.
Nice.
It was good.
Nice.
But that's that in school, like we talked about, and that's pretty much all I'm doing these days.
Yeah.
Got Rosh Hashanah tomorrow. Starts tonight.
Oh, geez.
So.
Oi.
High holiday time.
Woo. Yeah.
Mazel tov.
Getting into it.
Thanks.
L'chaim.
A lot of stuff for the next month.
Yeah.
So, it'll be good.
Yeah. Cool.
That's all that I got.
Nice. Other Chris, anything you want to mention?
Not that much, I guess.
Yeah.
More Red Velvet content, I guess.
Woo!
Got that Silgi solo album coming out. Excited about that.
Oh, I gotta hit stop for me.
Okay.
What else? They've got that sort of like documentary thing going on. That's Irene's Work and Holiday.
Yeah.
And that's pretty fun. Like it's basically like, here's a day of her working. We're following her around. She's shooting a vlog.
Yeah.
And then like here's a day of her on vacation in Bali or something.
Yeah. Living the life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Nice.
And she's a charming individual.
Yeah.
And it's like her hanging out with her with her crew and like her like her makeup team and stuff like that and like her assistant and like her manager who's like running the camera sometimes.
Yeah. Was that the same video you sent me where they were like in the car?
No, so that's
a different series.
Yeah, so that's the whole group. That's the Level Up project, and like
gotcha.
This is the 5th season of that.
Jesus.
Yeah, like so they've done that 4 other times. Where basically like, oh, Red Velvet's going on vacation somewhere.
Yeah, just doing
like,
whatever.
Let's watch them all hang out and do fun things.
Yeah.
Let's watch them get drunk at a vineyard. Like that'll be great.
It's a fine thing to do.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, like I haven't watched any of the new Level Up project yet.
Yeah.
I think that only started this weekend actually.
I gotcha.
And I don't actually know of a place to watch it unless somebody like releases it subtitled somewhere.
Yeah. I was going to say, I enjoyed that video you sent me a lot more when I realized I could turn on subtitles. I'm like, oh shit.
yeah.
It's way better when I know what they're saying.
They occasionally on YouTube, SM will play the old Level Up project. Like they'll just do like 2 episodes at a time or something.
Yeah.
But it's like live. They're streaming it,
like
so it's like you
have
to be there at the time, or you're gonna like miss it. And
makes sense.
It really sucks watching something like that when you haven't seen all of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I missed an episode. I don't want to jump in and like they're gonna refer back to things that happened the other day.
Yeah. You're like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What is that?
But it is fun to watch them like dick around doing like I don't know, like zip lines or like riding roller coasters or paragliding or you know whatever the fuck they're doing.
Doing fun shit.
They're doing fun shit and they're like generally being insane.
Yeah. But somehow being cute while doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I could go do a zip line, no one would watch me. They're like, ugh, I don't want to see that guy do that. It looks terrible.
That's right. Cool.
Well, we saw a couple of movies that were strangely not based on comic books.
Okay.
Which is bizarre in my world anymore.
Yeah.
So last night we saw Don't Worry, Darling.
That looked pretty cool. How was that?
I liked it.
Okay.
It's the kind of movie that you kind of don't want to know anything about.
I would expect that, yeah.
Yeah. So even to compare it to stuff would kind of give away some of what it's doing.
I definitely get a Stepford Wives feel from it.
I think that's what you're supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
So that's not the one I want to talk about, but
okay.
And once you've seen it, if you're interested in seeing it, we can talk more about it. But
okay.
Anyway,
I'll probably see it at some point.
The one we saw last weekend was See How They Run.
Okay.
Which is like it is a murder mystery about the play The Mousetrap.
Okay.
So it's like very germane to our interests here. Like it's kind of framed around the play of The Mousetrap being converted into a movie version.
Uh-huh.
And Adrian Brody's playing this like sleazy Hollywood director who's gonna make a movie out of it, who gets, murdered.
Uh-huh.
And so Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan have to figure out what's going on.
Interesting.
And it's, very, of course, meta murder mystery type thing. And, maybe a little bit too camera winky for my tastes, but it was still fun. It was very fun. So you kind of know exactly what you're getting into if you've watched a play like The Mousetrap. But,
right.
But it was, Saoirse Ronan in particular was very good.
She always is.
Yeah.
Like
she was great.
I've been a fan of her, I think, since was it Hannah?
Oh yeah.
That was fucking excellent.
Yeah. She's in a weird group of actresses now that I'm like, I know that name, but I could never pick her out of a lineup. Like,
oh really?
Like her and Florence Pugh, who was in Don't Worry, Darling. I'm like,
oh,
that's got to be her. Because she's like the top billed actress, but I'm like, I would never know if she walked up to me and was... She's
that other Black Widow,
Yes. Eventually I figured that out, but like Harry Styles, like it's been a running joke with us. Like, I don't know what he looks like either. And like any person who's got like kind of longish hair and could speak with a British accent, I'm like, I'm Harry Styles. I'm like, yeah, I guess you are. I totally believe you.
Is he a good actor?
I didn't really notice many issues. Like, people on the internet seem to think he did better when he had a lot of emotion he had to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't really notice anything in particular that stood out. I'm like, ugh. So,
yeah. Okay.
He got a firm calm down from me in the first 20 minutes, though. So, like, could you two just chill a little bit? But
seriously,
I will note that there were definitely people in the audience for that that were only there because of Harry Styles.
Yeah,
because he would say anything and they'd be talking to each other. I'm like, what the hell? It's just a guy. I'm like, I wish he'd kiss me like that.
My God.
Say anything, just giggle. I'm like, come on, guys. Calm down. Calm down all around.
Yeah, well,
So, but yes. See How They Run was really good. And it would probably still be good as like a streaming type thing. So if you don't get a chance to get it in the theater, it'd probably be just as good.
Now I'm trying
on
to
the
remember
Netflix.
What saw theater in the movie, a movie in the theater.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember what it was. Because it was Barbarian.
Oh yeah, I saw that, but I didn't really. Sorry, I saw that was in the theater, but I don't really know much about it.
It was a very solid horror movie.
Oh,
like an actual horror movie, not like a jump scary like horror movie.
Crazy.
Yeah, like lots and lots of tension.
Nice.
Like the basic premise is that like this woman gets an Airbnb in like a really rundown area of Detroit.
Uh-huh.
And she finds that there's somebody already there
Mm-hmm.
who like apparently booked on like some other thing, and they're like, well, that's weird. But there's nowhere else to go, and all the hotels are booked up with some conference or something, so I guess we'll just have to hang out together.
Yeah.
And then some really weird shit happens. I don't want to say any more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's like
it's just mayhem.
I'll just say, like, whatever you think it is, it's not that. Like, nice. They definitely did a good job of really like burying it. And the reveal is really satisfying, and I would say that like the characters are all really great.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like it's a really solid movie. Like
nice.
B+.
Oh, nice. It's got Pennywise in it.
It's got Pennywise, and it's got Justin Long doing what Justin Long does best.
Sell you Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's such a fucking bro in this movie.
Nice. Cool. Well, I also have a heart out.
All right,
cool. I will talk to you very soon.
Yep. See you.
Take care. Okay, that was our session for today. And since we're already running a little bit long, let me quickly remind you that the homework for next time, if you're reading along, is to cover chapters 11 through 19. So once you hit 20, just stop. You're done. Also, a really quick on-second thought. Listen, any number of love declarations you receive on a given day is all right. One's already got to be great, so 2 twice as good, 3's got to be amazing. Even 0 is a fine number to receive. I really only start to question it when you hit something like 7, and even then only because I don't know how you fit in that many meetings in a day. But listen, you do you, alright? Today's episode was compiled from a series of newspaper clippings, journal entries, and personal letters written by Chris Ham, other Chris Jacobson. It was edited by me, Travis Rowe, and was sponsored by no one in particular. Until next time, keep fucking reading. So the kitten, right?
Uh-huh.
Completely other topic.
Yeah, kitten.
The other cats are like, fuck that cat. Like,
yeah, that's how it goes. You gotta introduce them slowly. Like, like we have our kittens in another room.
Yeah, still?
And still. And our cat, when she's eating, is still like, what the fuck? Don't look at me. Like, even us, she doesn't trust us.
Yeah.
Like, no, you brought this into this house. I can't believe you did this to me.
Never forgive you.
You assholes. Yeah, Dongo jumped into my lap today, and as soon as I touched her, she was like, wait a minute. Fuck you. And then left.
You've been around those other cats.
Yep.
You jerk.